So one of my favorite spiritual quotes is from Nisargadatta, and he says, "The ability to appreciate paradox is the hallmark of spiritual maturity." And I've always felt so validated by that quote in the sense that, I think when I was very young, I used to kind of go around and like say these kinds of outlandish things that made sense to me gnostically, but maybe not always on a literal level. Like I celebrate the self and, infinity lives in paradox. And I dearly meant them, but I couldn't necessarily always explain why. And I think then the subsequent decades of more formal spiritual study have, kind of filled in those gaps for me. The point is that, you can't have up without down. You can't appreciate dark without light. You can't be truly beautiful without some moments being a little ugly or having some blemish or flaw, because it's actually that contrast that creates the magnetism of what is so compelling. This is the whole idea of chiaroscuro, which is, a fundamental tenet in all art, whether it's painting and the balance of light and dark, or singing, classical singing at least. We have the balance of the focus of the squillo, that laser light kind of thread of sound that actually helps cut through the orchestra or cut through a space, backed by the plumminess or the actual richness of the space that we can create in the body to reverberate that sound and create a sound that is both focused and big at the same time, or light and dark at the same time. In life, you can't really appreciate all of the beauty without also apprehending that it can be absolutely, or that life has a lot of horror in it as well, and that there is so much joy in every day, and that it is accompanied by sorrow half the time. And I find then that actually the moments when I most feel alive are the moments where I am, to quote Steel Magnolias of all things, I am like laughing through tears. That laughter through tears is my favorite emotion, because it's the height of everything I could be feeling in one moment. And it's not always fun, because you might be really dealing with great loss or sadness, or you might be processing something that brings up great grief. Yet I will say, if I'm able to kind of step back into a more witness, if you will, place, and apprehend the sorrow and the joy, I always look back on those moments with great nostalgia and poignancy, because the moments you feel the most alive, even if there is something kind of bitter or sour with the sweetness, there's nothing better than feeling that fully embodied and viscerally awake in a life, in a world, in a modern world, particularly where we can often feel cut off from, depth, expressivity, or the mystery of being alive.